Greetings. Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Is it overhyped? Yes, Symphony of the Night is a good game. It helped create a genre known as Metroidvania. If it had never been made, and we only received the N64 games, the series could have very well died then. Not that the N64 games were bad exactly, but that's a bag of snakes for another day. Symphony of the Night arrived at the right time to become a cult classic. At the time, 3D games were still struggling to find control schemes that played well, and to be frank, they looked like shit. Symphony of the Night played it safe with 2D sprite-based gameplay, allowing them to develop tons of assets rapidly and reuse work from previous games. Most players don't realize that Symphony is a direct sequel to Rondo of Blood. Many of the sprites in Symphony of the Night, such as the Spear Guards and Skeleton Apes, originate in Rondo of Blood. The sprites are good, like really good. The animations flow naturally when it needs to, and unnaturally when it's needed. Even the sprites from older games have had frames added to smooth them out, and new attacks to keep players on their toes. And the backgrounds. Many of them look good upside right and upside down. Speaking of upside down, spoilers for a 15-year-old PS1 game. The game has an inverted castle that you unlock after you beat the hidden boss, Shaft's Orb. He is the evil priest that is influencing Richter's mind. And how do you see this ball of evil? A pair of holy glasses that you get from Maria Renard, Richter's sister-in-law, or maybe adopted sister. It keeps changing from game to game. But how do you get her to give you the glasses? By meeting her in a hidden room underneath the clock room which you first met her, that you get by finding the gold ring that you get from killing the succubus boss, and the silver ring that you get from Maria in the tower that requires a spike breaker chest plate that you get from the pitch black spike room in the catacombs that you navigate with the bat echo, and figuring that out, and you combine their descriptions to get where in Clock Tower. But all is forgiven after I hear any of the songs from the fantastic soundtrack. It is so good that while I was writing the script for this episode, I was listening to it on Spotify. Yes, it's on Spotify. It has so many genres, you'd think it wouldn't work well, but it does. Oh, so well. My favorite song is Rainbow Cemetery from The Crypt. It's disco. In a spooky, scary skeleton game. Disco. There's also opera, metal, hard rock, ambience, and more, and they are all so good. Enough cannot be said about it. If you have the PS1 disc, you can listen to it in your CD player by skipping to track 2. So you beat the inverted castle, got over 196% map completion for the best ending, and you think you're done with the game. Nope, you're not. You have unlocked Richter mode. Now you can play through most of the castle again as a second character, but it is so much harder, but so much fun. And if you're on the PSP re-release, you also get Maria mode. Yeah, about that much of the castle bit. A few of the bosses can't be fought as Richter. However, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing, as those particular bosses would have been extremely difficult to beat with a Richter anyway, so meh. So now you are done with the game, right? You've beat Richter mode, you've completed it, you've got the best ending? Yes, you are done, unless you want to play with cheat codes. Do you want to be super weak, but start with a luck of 99 for the best gear? You can. Do you want to start off with the rare AXEARMOR and look stupid but be a badass? You totally can. Cheats make this game a lot of fun, and add a lot more possibilities. I will post them in the description below. Now that you have beat the game as Alucard and played more of it as Richter, do I still think it's overhyped? In general, no. It's well deserving. In the Castlevania community, yes. It is still great fun to play. It's a lot to learn from game design wise. The music's great, it plays great. I will probably play it again, this time next year on the PS Vita TV, to play as Maria. The team that made this and the head developer Iga really learned a lot from this game, and I think most of the faults of this game were fixed and perfected in Area of Sorrow. For example, it has a slide to get through small gaps instead of an underdeveloped wolf form that Symphony of the Night uses, 3 times? The slide, however, is used a lot in Area of Sorrow, and it is fun and useful, even for dodging attacks. There are way more weapon types. There are heavy weapons, there are guns, spears, and the souls. And the concept of collecting shields to give you new moves with the shield rod really seems to have been fleshed out and evolved into the souls system. But the pros outweigh the cons here for Symphony of the Night, which turned 15 this month, and Castlevania as a series turned 30. This Halloween, maybe you should just revisit a justly hyped game and play some Castlevania Symphony of the Night.